Welcome back to another episode of Hoarders, Film and Vintage Aesthetic Edition. And unfortunately, after my wife watches this episode, there's likely to be an episode of Intervention to follow. Because today, I'm showing you my stash. No, not that stash. We don't know each other that well yet. But my film collection. And today I've actually got my film freezer up here beside the desk. I thought about filming this video in my closet, but unfortunately it was much too cramped, so I've brought my freezer upstairs, and I'm gonna show you what's inside. Check it out. I've purchased most of these films for a very specific reason. Most of the time, that reason being that I'm bad with money. You can really tell the films that I like though because I have multiples of them, and most of the time they're in 120 format. Most of what I'm just getting to try out is in 35mm format. And those are things that I'm gonna get around to reviewing once I stop being a lazy piece of crap. So you've got that to look forward to, I guess. So let's talk about the big stuff here first, the staples, you know, the real ones. Most conspicuous by me having the most of it. And I'm gonna leave them piled up on the table, so as we go, you can see the depth of my depravity. So the first one here, Cinestill 800T, the only tungsten balanced film still available, and the only one we need. Actually, I'm kidding. Kodak, if you want to bring back Portra 100T, we would all be super happy about it. But I've got 9 rolls of this film. Things have gotten a little out of hand. Anytime that I go out, this is one of my favorite rolls to shoot. I love this stuff. So 9 rolls, 120 format, should do me for quite a while. Next up, we have some Kodak Portra. Which Portra, you ask? All of it. These aren't my favorite films, although you would be surprised by me having so much of it. But these are the ones that are there for you when you need them. I know that Portra 400 has a huge following thanks to many prominent YouTubers. I like it too, it's a fine film. Most of the time I find myself shooting 800 or 160 and don't find myself reaching for the 400. It's also worth noting that I have a roll of Portra 800 in 35mm. So we've got a lot of Portra here. Staying in the red and gold family, which is actually a pretty expensive family to be in, think the Waltons, but you actually have to pay to be there, we have Ektachrome 100. When Kodak announced that they were bringing back Ektachrome 100, I was the happiest that I've been since McDonald's announced that they were bringing back the McRib nationwide. I've got a Pro Pack in 120 and also a single roll of 35mm, and I have a special project in mind for this roll, so stay tuned for that. And you know, when I'm feeling artsy, I have a stash of black and white films as well. One other pack of Kodak film that I have, and this is another one that I like to use pretty often, is Ektar. I have a nice Pro Pack of Ektar. I think there's a roll missing in there. I've not replenished that yet. I try to buy back film as I shoot it. But Ektar, it's a nice film. Really good if you're a landscape photographer. Lots of rich colors. Great stuff. But I'll put it over here in the Kodak family. When I'm feeling artsy, I also have a nice stash of black and white 120 film. Like every other lame hipster wannabe photographer guy, I love Ilford HP5. So I've got tons of rolls. You can see 5 rolls, actually 6 rolls of HP5. And if I'm not mistaken, I have a roll in 35mm as well. This film is the 2 AM Taco Bell film. It's definitely there when you need it, and the good part is it doesn't crap you to death afterwards. In addition to HP5, I also have a few other Ilford stocks as well. I've got 2 rolls of 3200 and 1 roll of Ilford Pan F, and that rounds out my black and white 120 family. These are kind of oddball films for me. Spoiler alert, I still don't know. I've had these for years at this point and I still don't know what to do with them. So maybe I'll shoot them at some point. Who knows? Because sometimes I want to imagine what the world would look like if Barney threw up all over everything. I have a few rolls of Lomochrome's proprietary purple stock. So 3 rolls of 120, and I think I've got some 35 as well. Absolutely, there's a roll of 35. It's in this neat vintage looking metal can, but have a roll of that as well in 35. And I actually really like this film. It's one of my favorites. It gives a really unique look, something that you can't replicate with any other film stock, and it's not easily replicatable in Photoshop either, so a unique look and a lot of fun to try out. Whoop. If you guys haven't shot that stuff, definitely give it a try. Another Lomochrome film that I have in my stash is Lomochrome Metropolis. You can see it's these yellow boxes here. I have 3 rolls in 120 and a roll in 35mm, and I actually just shot a roll of this and did a review on my channel, so check out that video. We'll talk a little bit more about this film later because I've bought some more of it and kind of a unique variety of it. But this is kind of like the My Chemical Romance of my film collection. You know, it desaturates the colors and gives you that nice moody aesthetic that will look really cool in your 2005 emo phase. And we are being invaded on the set. Wave to the camera, Luke. That rounds out my 120 film collection. That's everything I've got in 120. I think that's a pretty good slice of the available films on the market right now. Lots of Kodak here, but let's be honest, Kodak's the only one making color film these days, for the most part. Don't at me, Fuji. Moving on to my 35mm stash, most of these are in single rolls, and these are things that I intend to test, review on the channel, and give you guys my feedback and see if they fit into my system. But that's where we're at now. We're at the weird stuff. These 4 right here, these are films that I'm really excited about. I have a roll of each of Lomography's recent black and white releases. I have Potsdam 100, Babylon 13, Phantome 8, and Berlin 400. And I think that we're gonna get even though these are all black and white films, I think they're gonna be some pretty unique looks with these film stocks, so I'm excited to try them out. I think the higher speed films should provide pretty standard results. I'm thinking, again, Ilford HP5, Kodak T-Max, that kind of stuff. But Babylon and Phantome, who knows what these guys might do. With ISOs that low, we may be capturing extra dimensions or something like that. Now we're at the really weird stuff. I have 2 rolls of Revolog tinted film. Basically, these are Kodak Gold, I believe. You can take them apart. See, you can see inside the wrapper the infamous gold roll from Kodak. So these are Kodak Gold that had been kind of messed with, right? They've applied lights and different effects to the films to give you some weird colors and whatnot. I'm excited to try them out. I have no idea the proper situation to use films like these. They're pretty unusual, but I'm excited to try them, especially this Cosmos. I'll hold it up there. It's got this really neat sparkly effect. Again, being honest with you guys, I think these have pretty bad reviews, but that wasn't enough to deter this stubborn hillbilly. Again, along those same lines, and I don't know why I bought this. This was an impulse buy, and this stuff is expensive. I've got Psychedelic Blues number 2. And that's another tinted film, and I think these are pretty wild effects on this film. Again, I'm imagining like a vacation, a beach situation where these would be cool to try out, but right in the dead of winter, I don't know that the wild colors that these effects are gonna produce are gonna be really cool. So I'm gonna wait, and we might try these over the summer, so stick around and we'll check those out. I've got 1 roll of Cinestill 50D. The fact that I've got 1 roll probably suggests what my expectations for the film are. I'm a huge fan of 800T, but 50D, from all the pictures that I've seen, I don't really love the colors. I'm gonna give it a try for myself. The fact that it's a widely available 50 ISO film, that's pretty cool. I think the halations can be pretty nasty on a daylight film though. I've seen pictures of red rocks and different out west features where red is prominent, and they have this glowy kind of haze to them that doesn't look super cool. So, but I have 1 roll of this, gonna give it a try. As much as Cinestill 800 is amazeballs, I don't think the same is gonna be able to be said for Cinestill 50D, but we're gonna try it, because that's what we're here for. Now for my second favorite Max, under the Mad one, T-Max 100. T-Max 100, it's a classic. It's one of my favorite film stocks. I have 3 rolls of 35. This is a great film to just jam in your camera, and it's good for almost anything, right? And I love the fact that it's actually in 24 exposure rolls, because sometimes 36 is just a lot to get through, right? You may not have that many photographic opportunities. Love to jam some T-Max 100 into my camera and be able to be through the roll within a reasonable period of time. So pretty cool stuff here. A wonderful film, nice and sharp and super fine grain. 3 rolls of it. I'll put it back over here with the Kodak. All right, now we are to the Walmart special Fujifilm Superior 400, a clad department store's finest. Hey, I'm just happy we can still buy color film at the grocery store, at least in my area. This is cheap and cheerful here. Real bottom of the barrel scumbag stuff here. But we're gonna do something special with it though. I have some ideas, so stick around and we're gonna try this stuff out and we're gonna do some neat things with it. Just like Revolog, I also have and these are very similar companies, Revolog and Double Film. One is called Double Film Bubblegum. It's a 200 speed film. Again, it's a derivative of Kodak Gold. They pride themselves on tinted with sweet tones. This film is supposed to be tinted with sweet tones. So I'm excited to try that one out too. And then also Double Film Solar, which is pre-exposed with sun-kissed effects. And again, this is probably a film that'll stay in my freezer at least until summertime, when the colors are a little richer. I have a new roll of film from my favorite film company with a punctuation mark in its name, and that's Kono. I have a roll of this Kono Delight. It's a really cool looking film, and I say cool, it is actually cool looking. It's tinted kind of blue. This is new stuff. I'm guessing this is probably Ektar 100 tinted. I don't know that for a fact. The reason I say that is because it's available in 120 film as well, so it needs to be a stock that would be available in 35 and 120. I'm guessing it's Ektar, but we'll see. This is a new release from Kono. Honestly, the results that I've seen online with this are really, really nice. And if it turns out that Kono 100 is good, there will probably be some 120 teleport into my freezer at some time in the future. Don't tell my wife. I also have a roll of Fuji Across too. This stuff has been around for a really long time. It's a great black and white film along the lines of T-Max 100. Across is even softer and silkier. The blacks are deep and dark, and the film grain is very fine. It's a great film. It actually recently just came back in stock with most of the major retailers, so check that out. I love this stuff, but since Fuji is committed to film just about as much as I am to lifting weights, it's hard to say how much longer this stuff will be around. I'm always hesitant to get hooked on Fuji stuff because they will surely discontinue this just like they've discontinued everything else. I would rather shoot and support Ilford or Kodak, you know, the boys, the day one. There's at least one thing that I have in common with the United States government. I too have a roll of expired Ektachrome in my fridge. I have one roll of FPP Retrochrome 400, 24 exposures, 400 ISO. Really excited to try this out. One of my favorite film channels, Grainy Days, he loves this stuff. I'm excited to try it too, although I don't know how well it will suit my style. It looks to be very noisy, lots of light leaks and weird action going on, but it should be really cool to experiment with. But anyway, there is a limit to how much of this stuff can be produced, and I think we're getting to kind of an existential question here. How much of this collection is motivated by actual interest, and how much of it is motivated by fear of missing out? I'll let you guys be the judge. There's one more roll, and I just found this in my cooler. I guess it's something that came in relatively recently. Is a roll of Kodak Gold in live and in the flesh. Kodak Gold 236 exposures. I've actually never shot this film as much as I've seen it and heard about it my entire life. It's one that I'm really excited to try, and I'm confident the results will be really nice. Now for a few of the films that I have on order that have yet to make their way into my freezer. I have had a box of Velvia 50 in 120 format on order since basically I got back into film. So I don't know when that's gonna come. I'm really excited about it. I'm a landscape photographer. It's one of my favorite disciplines of photography. So I want that film. And at this point, I'm even contemplating ordering older expired Velvia 50, but at this point, still waiting on my box to come in. Some films that are also notable by their absence, I've pre-ordered 15 rolls of Lomochrome Turquoise in 120. This film came out in 2015. I kind of eyeballed it then. I missed out. It went out of stock, and then I've waited. I actually emailed Lomography to see when this film would come back in stock years ago. They replied that it wasn't on their calendar. So here it is, finally, it's back. I'm not gonna miss it this time, and I have plenty to shoot. So really excited for that to finally come in. I think it's gonna hit sometime this summer. So gonna be a cool film. I mean, guys, who doesn't wanna make their pictures look like your pee after chugging 6 Mountain Dews? Not that I know anything about that. Another stock that I have on order, and one you may not know about, is the 22 formulation of Lomochrome Metropolis. I was browsing their website the other day, and I saw on the page that they have a new formulation for 2022, and it's only available in 35mm right now, but I'm excited to try it out. I ordered some. It's supposed to be here in January. It's shipping in January. It's supposed to offer richer saturation for some colors, and then the same desaturation, kind of mellow look in the others. So I think your reds and your blues and those kind of colors are still gonna pop. Everything else is gonna be desaturated. So it should be an enhanced look for Lomochrome Metropolis, but I've got 5 rolls of that on the way, so that should be coming in soon, and probably we'll do a comparison with the old Lomochrome Metropolis and run those two films side by side and see which one we like. I actually have a couple of other rolls of film on order. These are top secret. I'm not sharing those with you guys yet, but look for the videos. Some really interesting stuff that there are 0 videos on YouTube for, so really unique stuff. But credit to my Joy Tudis refrigerator/freezer that I bought off Amazon for about $200. When I'm not using it to store my massive collection of Mountain Dew and Hot Pockets, it works great to preserve my film. It's also super cheap, like $200. I tuck it in my closet and it keeps my film nice and cool and preserved. I actually keep it at its lowest setting, -5 degrees, so this stuff is frozen solid, so preserved nice. But we better get this film back in the freezer and get it back under cooling. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.